Let's do this.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm pumped.
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, let's do this.
All right, let's do this.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Let's do this.
Now let's do this.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Coaching Life Podcast, episode number 113, episode number 2 for season 6. I'm here with my podcasting partner and friend, fellow coach in the great game of baseball, Coach Pat Martin. How are you doing today?
Good, Coach.
Good deal.
Came in from the cold.
Been an interesting couple of days, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Here in Ohio, pretty much all of Ohio.
We haven't gotten a snow like this in a while.
It had dumped on us. Really dumped on us.
I didn't think it was going to come.
You told me that.
Did I say?
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's going to snow.
When I was trying to figure out how to if I should cancel Sunday bullpens,
Right.
You're like, I don't think it's going to do anything, and it really didn't do much. I was sitting there at my house thinking, now that I've canceled, it better snow like crazy, and that always happens. You cancel and it doesn't do anything, or you don't cancel and you got kids there, and they got to figure out how to get home in 3 feet of snow.
Which one was your bullpen? Was what?
It's
3?
normally 6 o'clock in the evening, so we moved it up because of the potential for the snow.
Mm-hmm.
But they were telling us that it was going to start hitting at 1 o'clock. So we moved it up to 2:30 because girls basketball is practicing until 2. And so we just decided to bang it. And,
I think it started around then.
The cost benefit analysis told me that we will make up the work that we miss for one bullpen.
Sure.
But by between now and the cost, I didn't want to pay the potential cost, the unknown. So,
Absolutely. And it's getting in there, on a recurring basis where you get your reward from. It's not necessarily one or two.
Missing
Like
one,
if you have an individual that comes in here and there, they're not going to get as much out of it as a person that misses here and there. For sure.
Yeah.
I guess that's a pretty obvious statement.
And I'll tell you something here too. I think I told you this on Sunday afternoon. You did the right thing when as soon as you send out the message on your team app or whatever it is that you use to communicate to your players, within 30 seconds, you got 4 moms that immediately reply back saying, "Oh, thank you," with prayer hands. Because they're nervous about it. So sometimes you got to think like a mom. You got to get those people on your side, Pat. You got to.
Well, I'm in the ever learning stage. So I've asked you. I think I can't remember what the context is, but I'm like, why do you do that? You told me you're an over communicator, which I understand that.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can't go wrong that way.
That's right. That's true.
You can't.
Yeah. That's my thought. I'll send an email. I'll send a text. I'll put it on social media, and then if somebody says, "Hey, I didn't know we were doing this," I would say, where do you live? I mean, how do you not know?
Right.
I mean, right. If you got a phone, you got internet, you received the same message everybody else did. So yeah, I'm a believer in over communicating things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a safe way to do things.
But yeah, on the canceling of bullpens, I could just see, I could picture in my mind, okay, like say the mom that texted back, like within, I no sooner hit the button and I had a message come back to me, "Thank you." I thought to myself, I wonder if because I heard this happening in my house when I had kids in high school who were just beginning to drive. I wonder if mom was saying, "Hey, you're not going to bullpens today, son." And the son says, "Oh, yeah, I am. I am going." And then the mom goes, "I don't care what Coach Stewart says. You're my son. You're not going out there in the snow and ice or whatever it's going to do." And so then what happens? Coach Stewart sends the message, "Hey, bullpens are canceled. Now mom doesn't have to be the bad guy," right? Coach Stewart's now the bad guy. And that's right. And mom's going, "Oh, thank you for canceling."
Yeah. Well, and people like to know. I mean, it's just, you like to know as soon as it's just the thing. It's like, what am I going to do this week? And the quicker you know about a change, the better. Oh yeah, it's just I think it's just a natural thing. People, it's a stress reducer, one way or the other. So it's one of those things. But yeah.
But we got some ice. Got some ice and then some snow. About 8 inches of snow, I think.
Yeah, I think we measured 7.5 or something like that outside different places. I'm sure it's deeper than others, I think most of it came overnight.
Right. It didn't actually do a whole lot in the evening, in the afternoon and the evening that day. But you get everything shoveled, driveway shoveled and everything?
Did I send you a picture of that?
Yeah.
Man. That killed me.
It's not easy, is it?
No, it's not.
Especially when you're using poor form.
That's true. Yeah, we talked about that. That's a good segue. We can talk about that a little bit because we've been talking about in our lifting sessions with the younger guys. I mean, the conversation came from our older guys and the trainer. They were talking about it, and the younger guys kind of overheard it. But you have a habit of. I think there's a habit in the weight room of focusing on what you're lifting, how much. What the weight is.
Yeah, especially if you're posting it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? You
and
go
that's
in
your
there.
priority.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, when the conversation was around, some form, and the trainer was talking to a couple guys about their form and saying, you're doing this, you're doing that. And if you would drop weight, if you drop 50 pounds of weight and correct your form, you would get more out of it.
Yeah, go deeper into the squat, right? Yeah. Whatever the form issue might be, you're going to have to drop weight to do it probably, because the reason why you're not using good form is because you figured out a way to lift the heavier weight.
That's why kids hate front squats, right?
It is, because you can't lift as much.
You can't lift as much.
And it's not as sexy. It's not as egotistical, right? It doesn't tickle the ego as much.
And usually if you go from a back squat, you're lifting, you're lifting a heavy weight, and then you go to a front squat. You got
a kid lifting 315 on his back, right? And he's been pumping that out, and he's excited. And you're like, hey, this week we're going to start doing front squats. We're gonna transition to that, and then you tell them, this is where I want you to back off. This is the percentage I want you to lift. It's hard if they've never done front squats before. It's hard to get the feel down.
That's what we've been doing with the younger guys. Is I started them in front squats.
Yep. So. We're doing this primarily now because we also doing cleans, and it's just easier to learn how to do clean, because then you can clean into the front squat.
It's an explosive movement. I like that.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about as far as shoveling snow. Is I was out there shoveling the snow. Boy, my back is killing me today.
Is that because of poor form, or is that because of lack of, you've been sedentary? Is it sedentary, or how do you say that word?
Sedentary, I think, yeah. No, that's it. I think it's definitely poor form. I caught it. I caught myself out there shoveling the snow, because what you want to do, you go fast.
Yeah.
Let's get this row done that we sectioned out. And you start going fast, and it's like, my back's rolled over.
Yep.
I'm getting it done, but my back's rolled over, and I caught myself, and I thought, I'm gonna, because one of the things when I sent out our message to let everyone know that lifting was canceled for yesterday, I said, remember your form, go shovel some snow, and remember your form. And so I was like, I need to remember my form, and I started getting my back straight, getting in my athletic position, lifting with my legs more than my back, and man, it was hard. Like I was wearing out quick.
Yeah.
Snow's not heavy, but it's just the movement alone would wear you out. And I was like, oh, well, there you go. That's a great application for the weight room, that if you really want to get an applicable idea of, when doing something right is going to help you better than doing it wrong, go out and start shoveling snow and do it. Take a couple just the way you want to, just the way you feel, naturally, I guess, comfortable, or I should say habitually, because I would say the right way is natural, but we get in a habit of doing it the wrong way, and then do it with good form. Make sure your back's straight, make sure you're lifting with your knee or your legs, and do it that way, and you'll see that it's harder because you're not used to doing it that way. That's why it's harder. But
it is. That is why it's harder.
Sure.
And usually, and I think one of the things I said to you this morning when we were texting about it was, it's why, like at work, when you're at work, and if you're lifting things like boxes or something like that at work, what do people always remind you of? Hey, lift with your legs, not your back, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we're always reminding people of that, because that's the proper form. You're not going to hurt yourself, but you wouldn't have to remind people of that if that was natural. If you just naturally did that.
Yep.
And so what that tells me, here's the moral of the story. What that tells me is that the correct way to do something is often the most difficult way to do it.
Yes.
But the difference is, the benefit of that is, once you've mastered the difficult way of doing it, you'll get a lot more done, and you'll feel a heck of a lot better doing it.
Right.
You'll be more successful, basically.
Yeah.
And so, hey, kids, back off the weight a little bit and do it right.
Yes.
Go deep.
Yep. And that's, that's the fun part with having these young guys in here, in the weight room, because that they don't, you can start them with low weight, and you can point out the areas that
novices and newbies are sometimes a lot more fun to lift with, because you can do it right with them.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to be a lot more patient with them. But yeah,
all of them. Well, I wouldn't say all of them, but most of them. Which I have a couple guys that have really good form, but most of them on their last rep lose all form when they're dropping the bar or
right.
down on the ground.
Yeah,
that's something that we're constantly talking about. But yeah, that was good. That was one revelation I had. The other one was I had a conversation. I saw actually a couple conversations, but with one individual. This was a couple of days before it snowed even, and they had videos of their kids out, playing ball and throwing and stuff like that. And I said, man, you need to think about getting them in strength and agility and speed training, because that's really going to help them. And I said, I used the word plyo, which, plyometrics, and they said, what in the world is plyometrics? And then a couple of days later, they posted a video of their son out in the snow, just took off on a dead sprint and jumped into this big pile of snow.
There you go.
And I responded, I said, that's
there
plyo
you go.
right there.
Is.
That's exactly what you do. And that's as easy as it, it's very easy. I think that's something that I would like, coming out of this week, I want our listeners to understand, parents, you don't have to be, it's not rocket science. You just get your kids out there sprinting, jumping, falling.
Yeah.
Right? Let them fall down and get back up and do it quickly and as fast and as hard as they can. And man, they will be better athletes because of it.
Right. Yeah, we canceled yesterday because, just like I'd say,
you actually had
two-thirds
a really
state.
good plan. You should read that. You should read that plan.
My workout plan. So after canceling, I thought to myself, you know what? That's not true. You don't have to cancel. You could cancel. Obviously, our workout we had to cancel. We can have kids come to our weight room. But I said new plan. I sent it out. I said new workout plan for Monday, and that is number 1, shovel snow. And I said times 3 driveways, but then my brother reminded me that a lot of our kids' driveways probably a quarter of a mile long. So he said,
that's your brother.
They might have to drive 5 miles to get to their nearest neighbor. But
that's how I felt when I was shoveling mine. I'm like, man.
Yeah, right. So shovel snow out of your driveway. Make 3 snowmen, and all layers of the snowman's body need to be a minimum of 3 feet in diameter, which means you got to roll that snowball quite a ways, and then. Make 50 snowballs.
By the way, the snow wasn't rolling.
It didn't pack, so I don't think anybody probably did this workout very well because it was a cold snow. Make 50 snowballs, throw 35 of them to warm up, and then throw the last 15 as far as you can throw them. And then number 4, make hot cocoa. Give the first cup to someone in your family who's at home with you and tell them you love them. So something like that. That was our workout yesterday, but it was cute and clever and funny. But the point is, it's not rocket science to get stronger. To get more explosive. You can use the elements. You can use natural things to do it, which is what happened for years and years and years. That's what people did.
Right.
They picked up rocks and moved them from over here to over there. Yeah. They cut firewood. They did think about if you're sawing down a tree with a saw, what you're doing. Yeah. Think about the movement you're doing there, right? The rowing that you're doing there. Think about what one of the medicine ball workouts we do is like a medicine ball slam. Okay, how about you go split some firewood?
Yeah,
right.
True.
I mean that's it. Really, we have to do things with medicine balls and weights because we're not doing the other stuff naturally. That's why we want kids to get in the weight room.
Yeah,
young
exactly.
Kids, right.
And I think there's a large conversation about this, but we do live in a different world than we lived in 30 years ago, and kids aren't out and as mobile as what they used to be. They don't get out. I remember, and I'm not a great athlete by any stretch of the imagination, especially now, definitely based on how I feel after shoveling a driveway yesterday. But I spent, I think I spent every day during the summer, just wearing myself out. I just ball tag or having a water war.
You probably rode your bike to the place where you did that.
Rode bikes
right?
up and down the hill.
Yeah.
Just
you didn't need a stationary
not going anywhere,
bike
just
because you had a bike.
Yeah, true, right. Yeah.
You don't need a Peloton because you actually rode a bike.
I actually remember this is a funny story. My my neighbor always used to park his truck. He had what was that? I think it was maybe a Toyota, one of those little Toyota, it's like 4-cylinder or whatever.
Oh,
just a little small
Toyota
truck.
used to make a real small, like S10 looking truck.
Yeah, but if it wasn't Toyota and he hears it, he might be mad at me. But anyways, it was some kind of small truck like that, and I'd always ride my bike. And one day, I don't know what I was doing, but I just came down off the hill and I wasn't paying attention. I ran right into the back of that thing. So he came out of his. I was laying there. He came out of his house, looked down at his truck, looked at it, kind of brushed it off a little bit, then looked back up, looked down at me, said, "Were you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm all right. I got up out of there." But
Got to check the truck first.
That's the thing too. Is like when we've talked about this before with the safetyism episode, but I don't. There's things that I don't like as a person. Like I can't stand heights. So when my youngest son likes to get out and climb up our pine trees in the front yard there, and it always makes me uneasy. So I struggle. And there's been times in the past where I've said, "Get down. I don't want you up in the tree." But the last couple of years, I've really fought against just letting him climb. Because that's another example. Yeah, he's climbing up, he's climbing down, he's balancing. Yeah, he's up there doing things that requiring him to move, and that's a good way to develop. So you don't have to overthink it. You just you have a little bit of initiative. You get them out there and have them run and jump and just see what they can do. I know some parents like that are they'll just go out with their kids and be like, "Here, let's try this." Right. And their kids are good athletes, so it pays off.
Yeah. There's a correlation there.
For sure.
I don't think we should ignore.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to change gears with you for a second.
All right, let's
go.
Mind.
I got a little bone to pick with you here.
All right.
You and I got in an argument last week. I got a text from you. Yeah, which one? It had nothing to do with the Bengals or the Browns or the Cowboys. Oh, geez, we're not even talking about the Cowboys. But I got a text from you, and it said this: "Hey, check this out. TV teams are no longer shaking hands after games."
Right.
We could talk about that in and of itself. But yeah, I think you and I both agree, and probably the majority of our listeners agree that that's ridiculous. We know the reason why they're telling us not to shake hands, and it's just ridiculous.
I could never, honestly, I can't look at anyone, I can't take anyone seriously that thinks that's a good rule.
I know. Yeah, it's so anyway. However.
Yeah. I'm not really prepared for this conversation. I feel like you've got an argument built, and I'm kind of coming.
I don't have an argument built. I just I thought this would be good. I mean, that's the same argument you and I had last week.
Yeah,
you're like,
what I say?
I don't like that tradition anyway. And I paused and I went, well, what, the tradition of shaking hands?
Yeah.
And you're like, capital letters, YES. Yes, I hate it. Those are your words, quote. And I'm like, this sounds like a good podcast argument right here. So let's hear your reasons for. So what you're saying is you don't like it when teams at the end of a conclusion of a game show sportsmanship and appreciation for the hard fought battle that what they just competed with one another on, and go through the line and say, hey, good game, congratulations on your win, or good game. You guys fought hard, even though you lost. I mean, that's not necessarily what you say. You just pretty much.
Yeah, it's not what you say. What you go through, and some guys don't say anything. And it's good game. You got it. And it's all this. It's all this weightless banter going through the line.
You're saying
really
it's optics?
It's an act of righteousness, is what it is.
I don't know.
And but no, I don't know that I may have been overzealous in my response.
Oh.
But I don't.
Did I convince you?
No, you didn't convince me.
Okay.
I just don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary to line up and to go through and shake hands. Yeah. And I think if you think it's necessary, I think you could very easily defend a pitcher going and shaking hands.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I think you could very easily defend a pitcher going and shaking hands with a guy that just hit a ball 450 feet off of him and cost his team.
Like that kid in the Little League World Series.
Listen, coach.
Met the kid on his way to first base and tipped his hat and shook his hand like, oh, that was a bomb you hit off of me.
Right.
No, I don't think that's the same thing. I
didn't
that.
say the same thing.
I don't like that at all.
I think they're cousins. I think they're cousins.
You're in the middle of the game there, though.
That's true. But you're right after the game. The other way,
Well,
you're
it's
right
over.
after the game. Okay, so are you okay with...
It's like fighting.
Let me ask you this.
And then shaking hands afterwards. You ever do that? You ever get in a fight and then, okay, we're done now.
I don't think that's customary. I don't think everybody does it.
No.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's not a rule.
Let me ask you this. Is it a rule? Is it a rule that you got to shake hands? I don't think it is.
No, it's just like a gentleman's agreement.
Well, here's my thing. And I think I made this clear. Why not just a hat tip? Why
Like
not?
we did last year.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually get done. I mean, I don't
And
know.
here's
There's
right. And here's what happens in these lines. In my experience, over the last 6 years of coaching older kids, okay, let's say 6 years, 4 years, something like that. I don't know,
Like-
because it's what's
like
fresh in my mind.
Junior high aides and above.
Yeah. You got kids that will elbow you, or not, give you the quick slap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think that negative stuff has happened as much as people like. Have you had that happen a lot?
No,
Like a fight break out because you're shaking hands, or some
but
kid
you got-
spits in their hand and says something.
No, that doesn't happen.
I mean, you're always going to have one moron going through, from every. I mean, you don't want that. Your team better not have it. My team better not have that.
Oh yeah.
We're going to address that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But some teams do.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know. I think there's right after that. Here's the thing. Who do we emulate as baseball players?
Who do we want to? Who do we want to be like?
Yeah,
The pros.
the pros.
Yeah.
Do the pros shake hands with each other? Do the teams?
They shake their own hands.
They shake their own hands.
And here's one of the reasons why I think you don't see. They're playing the same team tomorrow.
But they still don't.
Like you're not shaking hands after a doubleheader.
You know what
the first
they
game
do?
of a doubleheader.
You know what they're doing most of the time? They're meeting and greeting prior to the games.
They really are. I mean, there is now. It didn't used to always be that way. That's one of the things people talk about. That's different in today's.
Well,
world.
yeah, and I was going to bring that example up too.
Players used to hate each other.
Yeah, and these guys getting together. Who was it? Who was Bucks and who play? Who did the Buccaneers play? Who did they play? The
This past
Eagles.
weekend?
The
Yeah.
Eagles, and I think Jalen Hurts. Was it the Tom? I don't know. It's one of those quarterback duos, and one guy went up and said, "I need to get a jersey," and the other one said, "I need to get a jersey too." And sometimes they got here and they're exchanging jerseys after the games. You know what I mean? But why not?
I mean, a lot of that is because they're.
And see, football.
They might be playing for that team next year. No one stays on the same team anymore.
And football's different because in football, it's just a hodgepodge. Like everybody's out there talking.
Speaking of pros, are they shaking hands afterwards?
they're hugging and
Yes,
everything.
they are.
Praying together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think. I think baseball programs are ready to get. They've been out there for 3 hours. They're ready to get into the clubhouse and get on the bus and go, or go back to the airport or whatever. But I don't know. Do basketball teams shake after hands?
We do.
I don't watch NBA. I mean pros.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't watch much NBA either in the playoffs. I don't think so.
I think LeBron got. I think they do, because didn't LeBron last year get into like social media trouble for leaving a game as
just
soon as the
left.
buzzer was over? He didn't shake anybody's hand or
That's
anything.
the thing, though. I don't think they shake. I don't think they get in lines and shake hands. I think they
They just do it like
they congregate
football
like
does.
football does.
Yeah.
So there's, so there, that's a great example there. LeBron didn't shake hands. Does that make him a bad guy? That one game he didn't shake hands after he got beat? Is that a bad example?
Is he being a bad example there when it's customary to do so? And a lot of people look up to him and want to emulate him.
But is it customary? Because he's really just shaking hands with people that he wants. He's just going and talking to people that he wants to.
And and you're saying
that's
after that game, you're saying he didn't want to talk to anybody, so why do it?
Yeah,
just go in. And I think actually that, if I remember right, I think actually that didn't he leave the game early?
I think he did.
Yeah, I think that was the problem.
Yeah,
more so than just leaving.
When guys,
somebody in a football game did that this year though. It was it was when the first game between the Bengals and the before what's his name was hurt, Lamar Jackson. I think people were saying that he didn't, like Burrow was looking around for him after the game. Quarterbacks usually meet and shake hands. Lamar went straight to the locker room after the game. Oh. After that first meeting with them, because Bengals put it on them twice this year.
Yeah,
the Ravens
didn't disappoint me at all, to be honest with you.
But I remember, I think I said something to you about that. I remember saying, "Yeah, that's interesting," but you wouldn't have thought it was interesting, though. You're like, "Yeah, he wouldn't have."
I probably would have, because it's something you do all the time. So I'll say that as long as it's as long as it's expected and custom, my teams will do it. I'm not
right.
I'm not saying we're not going to shake hands.
You're going to come in with a bang, buddy. Yeah. As soon as the game's over, your teams are heading out to the outfield, and everybody's going to be.
That's why I say
the opponent, Athens guys are going to be standing there at the home plate, like, what are they doing? I'm like, Pat doesn't do that. He doesn't shake hands.
I just think, like, it's just one of those things to me. There's Rufus over there, Coach, walking in the snow over on College Green.
A photo op.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with things like that. I think they lose their value, and they lose their value because other than that very moment of when you're out there, yes, showing, it's a showing of sportsmanship. It's an act of respect to the game.
I personally like looking for certain players on the opposing team, and I know that I'm not the only one. Our players do this as well. It's not just coaches to players and saying, "Man, you pitched, you really had us today."
And at the level that we're talking about, that's kind of, it presents that opportunity. Whereas if you didn't do that and everyone was kind of just going everywhere, you probably wouldn't get that chance to do that, to find those players, or it would be, it would take more time or whatnot. So I can see some.
So having an organized line and going through the line,
right?
Gives you that opportunity.
And I do the same thing. I see, there's guys that, especially when they absolutely kill us, and I'll be honest with you, Coach, I did something. This just reminds me, I'm going to out myself here. I probably did something that was over the top last year. I just forgot about it.
Like last summer?
Last basketball season.
Okay.
When those heathens from Eastern beat our 8th grade team in the tournament. I don't know what happened. I don't think I got through the line or something. I don't know what happened. But after the game and after the lines had went through, I went over and gave some kids, high fives and stuff
Sought
like
them
that.
out, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked on that. Like, because you appreciate the game that they played, you appreciate something about them. Maybe they didn't, maybe they just fought through some adversity or something like that, and it's a good opportunity to go do it. My thing is, when you do the tradition, when you're hung on the tradition, you just got to make sure you get the value out of it, and you make sure that value is a part of who you are as a team. Because if you don't, then you're just doing it because it's something.
It's like praying before every meal.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
Don't necessarily do that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
I think for the same reason I'm thinking that. I do tell my wife I love her every day, though.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like giving a high five after a game.
Except I mean it when I tell my wife.
I know you're not going to mean it when you go through our line.
Here's the thing,
not really.
Coach, we played twice this year. If you beat us in one of those games, don't look for me.
You're gonna head to the.
I'm on the bus.
Well, if we beat you, we're just going to be congratulating ourselves. We don't need to look for you. We'll just make a line and with eagles.
Okay, there you go.
We do that anyway, actually.
I would actually respect that a little bit.
As soon as we're done with the opponent line, we always line up and shake each other's hands.
I will expect if any of my hitters get hit during an at bat, I will expect your pitcher to go over and shake their hand.
And ask him if he's okay.
Give him a hug. Say I didn't mean to do it.
That's a completely different thing. I can't believe that you brought that up. That's a completely different thing.
I agree. It's different. Thing.
Okay, good. Good deal.
I just like pulling your chain a little bit here and there.
No, I think that's fun to bring that up because I get it. I do get. I get some of your point on that. It's okay for us to disagree on things sometimes.
First of all, I want to say happy birthday to my mama.
Oh,
this is her birthday today.
The day we're recording is.
Today's
awesome.
Yep. So I guess you'll hear this because she's an avid listener.
One of the first ones, probably, right? That downloads the.
And
did she like the new intro? You have to ask.
I didn't ask her.
Ask her if she likes the new intro.
Yeah, I'll see.
The music.
She probably won't.
It's kicking music. Yeah.
But one of the things that I think my mom likes when the pitchers go over and check on the hitters that they hit, and we've got into that.
I can see
before.
moms,
right?
I mean, it's cringeworthy to me, man. Yeah,
she takes
good-hearted
care of
person wants to make sure they're okay. I guarantee you, my wife likes that too.
No way.
I think she would.
I don't. I bet she should. I can't wait.
I shouldn't have said it that quickly because
I don't think anybody in your wife's family would like that.
She would, after the game, she would definitely. She's got a lot. She has a lot of compassion. She thinks like that. But she is a competitor though, so probably not during the game. I think I should retract that statement.
We're gonna have to find that out. I'd like to know the answer to that question. Yeah, I don't think she would.
Yeah,
either.
those three competed like crazy with each other growing up.
I bet they did. Yeah. But no, Coach, I guess I don't hate it, but it's something that we'll talk about. It's not something that we'll just do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Without thought, it's something that we'll understand.
Be intentional about why you do what you're doing. Yeah, I like that thought.
Because you said it, and it's true that it's an opportunity to practice self-discipline, an opportunity to show class, to show grace.
Yeah, if you are really hot, it's an opportunity for you to show that you're in control of those emotions. And tell somebody, I'm hot because I played poorly or because this game ended on a bad call or something, right?
Right.
That's happened before where I didn't want to go through a line because I was ticked, but going through the line helped me to cool off a little bit.
Yeah, a couple summers ago, I was invited to the parking lot for a fist fight during a game, and then after the game,
you've made it when you've been invited to do that.
After the game. There we go. We're lining up. I'm like, this is stupid. Me and this guy's going to go through the line. We're probably going to, we came through the line, and he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, gee whiz.
It's a good thing you guys went through the line, then.
No, I tell you what.
Otherwise, you'd have been in the parking lot waiting for him.
Yeah, true. I probably wouldn't have. To be honest, unless I could have got some guys to go with me. Yeah. No, I was tore up that day. That's a story we might be able to tell someday. But honestly, I felt worse because you know why? He got me.
He was the first one to say, I apologize. Oh, he got to you during the game. He
absolutely.
Got to you. You played his game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Played his game. And that's what I told the guys after. I said, you know what? He got the best of me today. That's my fault. I apologized to him for that, and said that that's why we always talk about being mentally tough and staying in control of your emotion and things like that, because he did, and it kind of was they were already ahead, but they after that moment and the ruckus that happened during the game, they kind of just extended the lead, and it went from there. So that bothers me. But it's a lesson. So I'll try not to get into an argument with you when we play.
Well, that's right. There's an aspect. I think did we talk about this in context of this that day when you and I were kind of back and forth about it? there's an aspect of teaching kids how to flip the switch when they're on the athletic field and then flip it back when they're not. I remember when I was going through the line, you're a different person. Like, that's why I don't like the idea, the comparison of in the middle of the game going and shaking a kid.
It's completely different.
Because at the end of the game, you're a different person than you are during the game. You're a competitor. I'm out there to beat you. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily live that way every day. I mean, there are people who do, and they're probably usually the people that end up at the top of their companies. They live their life cutthroat every day, all the time, like that.
Sure.
And it's probably why they end up divorced and have 6 different wives over the course of their adult life as well.
But, even, I don't know, but even those people understand rules and
context.
Understand they have to behave certain ways in certain situations.
Yeah, when I first started coaching my daughter in basketball, she was in the 4th grade. Well, she actually started playing basketball much earlier than that, but the first time I got to coach her, she was in the 4th grade, and it was finally a group of kids her own age. She played with kids older up until then. I'm like, hey, why don't we gather a group of girls that you're in school with, and let's play, let's play in the Hocking Valley League, and let's see how we do. Well, these girls were wonderful girls, and they grew up as friends and everything. A lot of them continued to play basketball. Some of them continued on to other things, but they were really, really sweet, really nice, really caring and concerned. And it was funny because in practice, I would talk to them about anytime every loose ball, we're winning that. We're getting that ball. Here's how you do it. Get after it. Get on the floor. Don't try to reach down and get it. Get on the floor. Fight for it. Get after it. And they were so nice that they wouldn't do that kind of stuff. They would be like, "Oh, excuse me. You can. Oh, sure, you can have it." I mean, that was the idea. That was sort of like the approach. And so one day I thought, how do I get it through these girls' head that while you're here, you're not that person. I want you. And so they showed up for practice one day, and I had the lights off in the gym. And I said, I want us all to stay out here in the hallway just for a second. And we walked in the gym, and it was dark, pitch dark. And I said, we got to flip these lights on, don't we? And they're like, yeah. And so I said, let's do that. I said, I said, where's the switch? And I had them all watch me flip the switch, and so then the lights start coming on. And so we sat down before practice, and I said, here's what I need you all girls to do. When you walk into this gym or any gym that we're playing in, you got to flip a switch in your inside here. I pointed at their heart and in their head. I said, you are the sweetest. Your parents love you because you're sweet and you're kind and you're compassionate and you're generous. And that's how you were raised, and you were raised right. But when you get in this gym, I want to raise you right as a basketball player. If you don't like this, then basketball isn't for you.
Or
competitive sports aren't for you.
Right.
But out here, I want you to flip the switch. And I said, I don't want you to be mean. We're not going to break rules. We're not going to hurt people. But you got to compete, and you've got to have a little grit. And we talked about what that is and what that looks like, and so we would. It was funny. We would actually use that terminology throughout that year. Little 4th grade girls, time to flip the switch. And then when the game's over, flip it back, and you're going through the line and you're congratulating the other team because they beat you, or make sure you lose with grace, right? Or you win with grace, lose with dignity. And so one of the ways that we'll do that is flip the switch back, tell them congratulations on their win, or if you beat them, tell them they played a great game. You be the person that you normally are 23 hours of the day, right? 22 or 23 other hours of the day. And I think there's an element of that in the post-game handshake.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, cool.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Good deal. Daggone it, this wasn't as good of an argument as I thought it was going to be. I was all ready for this.
Well, look, I'm not, there's other things that we can argue about. I thought you were going to say that you gave all your 4th grade girls a copy of Relentless.
No, that would be funny.
What's Tim's, what's his word? It's not Dark Passenger. That's Dexter's.
Right. There is, he does have it's something about darkness though, right?
Yeah.
Tim S. Grover in his book Relentless. Dark.
I can't think
have
of
to look
it.
that
For
up,
some reason,
yeah.
I can't get past it.
I've read it 3 times.
The
and I
dark
can't
side,
remember
and you got to embrace it. And
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
That's you're right. I mean, that's the truth. You know, you have to be able to do that.
Right. And that's the whole idea of learning how to stay cool, right? Don't get too hot, don't get too cold, learning how to stay cool. Brian Cain talks about being in control of your emotions, learning how to learning one, that you are, believing that you are, and then learning how to regain control of your emotions by slowing yourself down when you need to be slowed down, speeding yourself up when you need to speed up.
Yeah, and I guess there's your merit in the going through the line and shaking hands, is that's an opportunity to practice that or to display that. You know, it's if you and those small building blocks add up. You know, that's what makes you who you are, both as a competitor and as a person. So if you're not focused on the small details, you're not going to be very successful.
Yeah.
You know, that discipline carries over into your discipline at the plate, carries over discipline in the field, on the pitcher's mound, things like that. I
really am glad that we had this conversation, because I've never thought, like, we should always think about why we do something.
Yeah.
And we should teach it also. Yeah. I've never thought about why do we shake hands after a game? But you made me think about that when you said that. Thanks to the TVC for canceling shaking hands after the game, and then you saying, I'm fine with that because I hate it anyway. It's like, that started a conversation that actually ends up being pretty valuable, because we started thinking, why do we do that?
Right. And my obviously I've always done it.
Well, yeah, you're not.
You're not
just this Grinch that just Scrooge.
And really, some of these things I tell you, Coach, are never supposed to, be let out in the public. But
oh, whoops, I threw that one on you.
But it's just I don't know.
Oh, you're not the only one that feels that way. I'll bet you half of our audience would stand with you.
That's interesting.
I bet they would.
Wish we could somehow post a poll.
We can.
Our people could go out.
We can, and we will.
Let's do it.
There's a new element. There's a new feature on Anchor, because Anchor is now owned by Spotify. But you have to use Spotify to be able to see the poll. So if you use Spotify to listen to your, well, how about this for an advertisement? We need to get paid for this.
From Spotify
to listen to your podcast. We will put a poll out there. Or Anchor as well. I think you can, if you go straight to Anchor and listen on there. I can put a poll. How should we say it? Are you
in
just
favor,
pro or con? Yeah, in favor of
post-game handshake
lines. or lines, the post-game handshake line, or against it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily against it. Because that doesn't sound right. I think we wouldn't have a lot of people say, I'm against it. Like, you're not against it.
No, I'm not against it.
But
we've always
don't necessarily think that it's not. You don't think it's necessary.
It's not even that.
Is the post-game handshake necessary? Yes or no? How's that?
That's good. I like that. That's
how we say it.
Yeah.
I better write that down or I'll forget.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Is it necessary?
That's right. So I'll let you bring up something to put me on the spot on the next episode, if you'd like.
All right, I'll try to do that.
Yes or no. There we go. That'll be our poll. We have a poll. It's a pretty cool thing. Create different levels of interaction for the podcast.
Sure.
Having polls. Yeah.
We'll get like 3 people respond to it.
Yeah, probably. It'd be great to have one respond to it, probably.
In my favor. And then
It'll be your mom.
And then I can say, no, she will definitely.
Oh, that's right. She'll be on my side on this one, won't she?
She would definitely.
Your dad, though.
No, I don't know. My dad side against you too, or side with me, or against me too. I think. This is kind of an abstract thought on my behalf, but
I know my dad's a handshaker. He's a greeter. Growing up, he was always the church greeter at the door, because he would talk. The preacher had to be like, "Hey, Mike, let these people in. They got to find their line. They got to find their seat." He's talking to everybody.
There's a big line waiting to get in the church. And
oh yeah, he won't be able to post on the poll though, because it's technology.
Yeah. I got you. Hey, I don't know. He's got that.
My mom will show him how to do it.
He's got the what's the egg?
The iPhone 4?
The egg crusher. The iPhone 4.
Rick Ashke, he brought that up the other day on the internet.
Coach Ash did on
Yes.
talking?
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was like.
You mean on the stream? On the radio stream?
No. He didn't say that. He did say he gave me a shout out though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Jeez,
oh my
Coach.
gosh, the girls got screwed on a last second shot at the end of the first quarter.
Oh, boy.
Riley Lyle, like there was like 7 seconds left when she caught the ball. They're passing the ball around. They inbounded it, so she gets like the second or third pass. So the time is winding down.
Mm-hmm.
She took 2 dribbles and put up a floater, and it hit off the backboard and went in. And I swear that ball, the buzzer went off when the ball was hitting the backboard, and they got together. Like you didn't have an official immediately give the signal, but they all 3 got together, and everyone's waiting, and Heath's kind of out there at half court waiting. And when they waved it off, you don't ever hear Heath yelling.
Oh, you heard it?
I heard it. Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or somebody. I don't know. Maybe it's somebody from the stands. I heard his sister. I'll tell you that right now. That's terrible. I was yelling it from my couch, Heather. I was too. And I actually posted it. And Rick goes, Rick didn't like it either. You know, Rick
he
didn't
talked
care
about
what
it.
he
He
says.
talked about it in the third quarter.
Yeah, Rick's like, I'm with you, Coach Stewart. That was good. We should be up 2 more points.
I'm going to be honest with you, Coach.
You did you see it?
I saw it.
Were you at the game?
Nope. I was watching on video.
Yeah, that's where I was watching it. Oh, you disagree with that call? With me?
I didn't think she got it off.
Did you go back and
I
and
did,
watch it again?
but I did it twice.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll never have to respond to this. I'm just going to let it go. But now here I am with my voice on recording. So it's 2 things.
2 things I brought up today. And this is your own school district.
But I know.
I'm pro Marauder here.
I know. And now, yeah, I know. So you're burying me here. I didn't think it got, but I didn't watch it closely. I did watch it twice though. I thought she still had the ball down by her hip when the buzzer went off.
Yeah, we got 2 different sets of eyes.
But I do have some inside
Rick
information.
was watching it live.
I know, and that's what I was like. Well, maybe it looks different.
And he was on the air saying that too.
Maybe it looked different live, but you thought on the video.
I thought it looked good.
I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
Coach Hudson won't hang me next time he sees me, but that there should never be a discussion there
About that, right?
because what I found out was talking to
An official.
The guy across, or the official, doesn't have to be a guy.
It's one person's job, right?
Yes.
One person's responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
They should have been. And
That's the same reason why a lot of times when I've got coaches or people from the stands saying, "Hey, ask that umpire to get help," I say no, because he's not going to get help. That's not the guy. The guy that's 90 feet away is not in position to make the call any better than the guy that made it, was on top of it. I could ask him. If I ask him for help, they're going to remember it. It's not going to go in our favor.
you got to fight your battles.
Yeah.
and that happens a lot when the base umpire is standing behind the pitcher, and they're on a check swing. Everyone wants to ask that guy out,
and he can't help. He has the same angle view as the guy from behind.
Yeah,
plate.
I mean it's not gonna. Most of the time they should. If they don't, they're not going to be very liked by their partners. They should stick with their partner anyway. So
on that call,
you're wasting your time.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, I saw that. I didn't think she got. But hey, we won. So I
won by a lot.
If we would have
actually.
lost
by 2 especially,
I would have
been all over it.
I would have Prescotted it and complained.
Man.
Gosh,
I would have blamed those officials like crazy.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, they didn't play well. They'll be back next year.
Pick a game. I can go through the
Cowboys,
schedule.
Super Bowl.
I could go through the schedule. Odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. Every other game, they didn't play well. After about 1/3 into the season, because the first third of the season, I'm like, ooh, this is the best team in the NFL. And then something happened. They started, Dak sat out from a calf injury, and Cooper Rush played a really good game. They won that game. Dak comes back, and it was like I'm not saying it was his calf injury. I just think it's Dak. I don't know. I don't know. Dallas has issues. They have problems. I've been a Cowboys fan since I was a child, for as long as I can remember. And I'm really disappointed in
Starts at the
My
top.
favorite team. It does start at the top, and I've always said that. I am not a Jerry Jones fan.
And if you don't have somebody that can a very polarizing individual or a very what word am I thinking of? A guy that just comes in or a person that comes in and just absolutely changes the way the people around them think and behave, you're going to struggle in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, to have a quarterback at the end of the game basically commend the fans for throwing things at the officials. He was on to it. He was mad about it because he thought they were throwing things at the players. And then somebody among the journalistic staff said, "Oh, I think they were aiming toward the officials." And he's like, "Oh, good for them then."
Credit to him.
I can't believe he's not been destroyed for saying that.
I imagine that a fine will come from that for sure.
I hope so. He deserves one, and he's making plenty enough money to be getting fined. And listen, I'm a Dak guy. I've been a Dak fan. I was glad that they paid him, but that kind of thing there makes me change my mind.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I don't like that at all.
Jake had a good point. We were talking about that. He's like, "Did you see the last play?"
Well, yeah. Whose fault was that? Oh, well, yeah. He was mad about that too. The official ran him over and he didn't have time to snap the ball. Well, buddy, you're supposed to hand the ball to the official.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one problem. The other problem is don't run it up the middle of the field when there's only 14 seconds and you don't have any timeouts left.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. There was a whole lot wrong. And you know what? The officials
They were horrible.
didn't jump off side. Well, no, I don't know. I wasn't thinking the officials were horrible that much. I mean, there were a couple calls. I'm like, oh, that's ticky tack. But you know what? All the pre-snap penalties, Dallas committed.
Yeah. I
They were offsides.
Make no mistake. There's always something you can do to overcome, bad officiating.
Always. There is. Yeah. But to just,
And when you do that, you don't talk
focus
about
on that,
bad
though.
officiating. You don't think about the officials when you overcome it.
Right. Dak somehow gets that ball spiked, and they got one more play from the 24-yard line, and he throws a touchdown pass. He's not talking about that.
Right.
Yeah, it was weak. It was weak. It's mentally weak. It's not leadership. It's poor leadership, and it's really disappointing.
So you know what I hate?
So who day? Go Bengals.
Besides, post-game handshake lines.
Post-game press conferences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I think it's.
That's rough.
However,
they do have a lot of time, but they got as much time as they want, though.
they do, and they
to
have
get themselves.
They
cool
have
off.
PR people there to prep them, and things like that. But those are opportunities in those spots to practice self-discipline, to practice leadership, to.
You're still going to get some stupid questions, though.
Oh, they get
after a horrible loss, you're going to be asked
tremendously
if you got any New Year's resolutions you want to share with us.
Was that a real question?
To Bill Belichick.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh, that was hilarious.
Did he wear them out?
He just said. He looked like how that look he gives. He looked. And he's like, I'm not going to talk about that today. Maybe another day, but not today.
Matter of fact, you're probably never going to get another question answered.
Yeah,
I heard someone
the lady
say
that asked
I
it
saw on Twitter.
she got crushed on Twitter for asking it.
I saw on Twitter that people were asking, man, I wish someone would ask Bill Belichick that. So I didn't really understand.
It became a meme for a week or so later. Yeah, it was.
And here's the thing: it's like you got people out there because I think Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Plain Dealer was talking.
Man, you know the names of these. You are a Cleveland guy.
She talked about she put out an article about Mayfield having some disruption with the coach and stuff like that, and players.
And Baker got mad about it.
Yeah, Baker got mad. They hammered her a little bit, and then some journalists, like Daryl Reuter and some other guys were like,
I can't name one journalist that covers the Cowboys.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm impressed with you.
That's why you refer to them as they and not us, because you're not really a fan. But anyways,
I don't suit up for them.
They were like, "Oh yeah, it's our fault. Blame the journal." But it's not. Look, if those guys would be consistent in the way, they do dumb things. I mean, and for them to say that they don't, because Daryl Reuter, the guy that's saying this, got on a Pittsburgh radio show last year and said there was no way the Browns were going to beat the Steelers in the playoffs.
This was a Cleveland
radio
journalist,
and then he's like, oh yeah, you get mad at us. Well, yeah, no crap, they're going to get mad at you because you say stuff like that. You know, Tony Grossi called Baker Mayfield, a derogatory term for a short person. And then he's like, well, I don't know why Baker Mayfield don't like me. Well, why do you think you know? And they do.
Yeah. Why doesn't
like
he want to take my questions? And why doesn't he want to talk to me? And well,
he's not even allowed in the press conference.
hot takes
anymore.
Hot takes.
Yeah, that's what
That's what it's about.
Give me a break. You know, they know they're doing stuff like that. You know, don't tell me that. So
Everybody's got to come up with the most clever question.
Yeah,
because it's
exactly.
going to get you the most likes on Twitter.
So if you do that, I get it, but be ready to take
You
the heat
deserve
when
what
it
you
comes
get
to it. Yeah,
afterwards.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So
Well, who you got for this weekend? You going to root for the Bengals? Are you going to have a rooting interest in that game?
you're putting me on the spot all over
day
the place,
long.
aren't you?
Because if you say no, you're going to be liked by all your Cleveland buddies. Yeah, you should say no. We hate the Bengals.
Yeah.
However,
There's only
you live within 35 miles of where their quarterback grew up.
Yeah, that's true.
And saw him play in high school.
Is there anybody on the Titans that Mike Vrabel was from Ohio State?
Ohio
He
State,
played-
yeah.
it has always been my tradition to root for the team of my friends when they have an opportunity to win.
Yeah.
So I've
You
rooted.
have friends that are Bengals fans?
I do.
I'm a fan of all 31 teams in the NFL, of course.
Exactly. Well, who's the one team you're not a fan of? You said 31. Would it be the Ravens?
The Eagles.
Oh, okay. So it's okay.
Actually, I can't stand the Eagles, Giants, or whatever their name is.
Yeah,
The Washington
knows?
football
Who knows
team.
what it is? So yeah, I'll be rooting for the Bengals throughout. I wouldn't mind if they won the Super Bowl for my friends that are Bengals fans, but I empathize.
Isn't it amazing, though? I mean, isn't it? I chatted with Lucas about this a little bit. Isn't it amazing how one man can completely rearrange an organization?
I'll just say this, and it's
in a short amount of time. Like
I
that.
started to allude to it there earlier. I think Joe Burrow's biggest challenge over the next 10 years is Mike Brown.
His owner?
Yeah, because and Lucas and I talked about this a little bit.
I don't think Lucas would disagree with that.
He doesn't. He knows. I mean, there's no reason. I mean, it's a travesty that there wasn't a better offensive line around Joe this year. And I'm sure Joe would say, well, I like my guys, But the bottom line is, you have, as a general manager right now, as a leader of that organization, you have one job, and that's to protect Joe
Keep him
Burrow.
healthy.
That's to help him be the best that he can be. Because,
he's the one that's.
by the way,
changing.
everybody might want to pay attention, because I really think you're seeing something special going on in Cincinnati right now with that guy.
And I think that you'll see them use this draft to beef that lineup, don't you?
I do too. Well, here's the thing: if it was me, I go out and get some All Pros, because they've got a couple good.
I'll get some existing guys. Yeah,
I do. And I would do that first. I'd prioritize that. So because you have
take what you
skill
can get in the
players.
draft.
Yeah, sure. And then
Maybe even trade some
build up,
picks.
get some defensive players or something
Yeah.
like that. So, but there's no reason there's no reason he should have got sacked as many times as he did this year. And yeah, I know some of it's his fault. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, that's my answer to it. He's responsible for a lot of this.
I don't care. Put the best line around him you can.
Still, I mean, that even if 1/3 of them were his fault, how many times has he gone down this year?
Upper 40s, I think. Maybe even 50. I can't remember.
Right. So even if 1/3 of those, right, was too many, 15 is still too many.
Yeah.
If he got sacked 45 times.
And I put that on Zach Taylor too, and I did the first year, when Joe got hurt. And I don't really blame the injury on. It was a freak injury.
Yeah.
But he was taking a beating, and the play calling was.
I'll tell you from a you're right there. From a Joe taking too many hits and it being his fault standpoint, I think the injury has actually benefited him in the way he plays, because if you notice this, and I said this to my family when we were watching this weekend, there were a couple of times when he saw pressure coming right at him, where just knowing his mentality, he doesn't ever want to concede anything. He never concedes or gives up. Like I could see the reason why he scrambles so much is because he refuses to give up. He will never give up. It's why he beat his middle linebacker at Ohio State in a little tug of war game of who gets the tire when he was a sophomore quarterback there at Ohio State. Did you ever see that video?
No, I didn't.
Holy crud! Look that one up. There, yeah, it's like a tug of war. You know, they had a tire and Joe. Who was it? Who was that? It was Warner.
Man, I don't
The middle.
know.
I'll
So
show you the
he-
video after we're done.
He
here.
took it out of his hands, huh?
Yes, he did.
Unbelievable.
And he fell to he lost a shoe. He was in a sock. He fell to the floor a couple times, and
Joe
and
did.
never let go of that thing, and ended up getting it from him.
I'll be
yes, and I mean, and so people watch that, and people were posting that and going, "Man, that's incredible," and we were like, "Yeah, that's him." I mean, that's and so I think scrambling from pressure is that same mentality of I'm not giving in, but I've noticed him do the Brady a few times. Just collapse. Like instead of knowing I'm going to take a hit, I'm just going to go ahead and collapse.
And I think there's a maturity to that too, because that's not giving in. That's living.
It's being smart.
Yeah. So
yeah.
He
throws the ball away more now.
Yeah, you're actually succeeding on behalf of the organization at that point.
You know the last time he threw an interception? You know how people were saying he throws too many interceptions? Tell me the last time he threw an interception.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he has an ability to improve like that.
I wasn't saying he was throwing too many interceptions. There were some
the
Bengal
whole world
fans out
was.
there
Yeah.
saying that he was throwing too many interceptions. There was also some Bengal fans talking about how Jamar Chase couldn't catch anything in preseason and how they should have still drafted Penei Sewell. I think that's
I
how
completely
you say
forgot what that guy's name was.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about him this year.
Nah, they
played against him.
Yeah, Joe drafted the right guy there.
Yeah, and I think Joe will have some say in saying, "Let's go ahead and
See, that's
I
where
like
my
my guys in front of me."
going to
But
be because I don't think he will replace him. I think because but that's part of it.
after he bought them all nice G-Shocks.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's out there thinking, they're like, man, this went off on a tangent. My Browns fans are listening, saying, I can't believe
Why
you
is
said
it-
you're going to root for the Bengals.
You're rooting for your friends.
That's what I'm doing.
That's right.
That's
You're
what I'm
rooting
doing.
for your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to think that if the Browns made the Super Bowl, although I already know one buddy out there that said, because I told him, I said, I'll be pulling for you guys. He said, that's big of you. I won't pull for you guys.
Shoot, man! If the Browns ever make the Super Bowl, I'll root for them.
Let me just leave one
Well,
word
unless I'm
with all my
playing the
Browns
Cowboys.
fans out there. One word. Karma.
I don't believe in it.
You don't.
There is no such thing as karma.
Let's talk about that sometime.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know you can be a Christian and believe in karma.
Wow. He dropped it down on me.
All right. Let's sign off. Call it a day.
Nice talking to you today, Coach.
Yes, sir.